2017 to 2018 market cycle, XRP saw a 58,000% move. Can history repeat? We're going to explore that information today. We also are going to explore this post. XRP holders, stop what you're doing and read this. PayPal, they're using XRP. Is this really happening? I'm going to get into all of that. Plus, I have a ton of other XRP related news. Guys, I just want to say I got the chance to meet some fans of the channel over the weekend. Yesterday, I was invited to a barbecue, and I want to say, like, I was so blown away on how kind and welcoming these people were. I want to thank Jordan. I want to thank his wife, Jennifer. And of course, I want to thank Richard for inviting me and everyone. We had a great conversation about crypto and XRP, and man, moved me emotionally. So thank you very much. Let's get into this information here. They're using XRP. So what's going on here? So I threw this into perplexity. Like, is this truth? Is there any truth to this image? The claim shown in the image that PayPal is using XRP is misleading and oversimplified based on current and recent information. All right, interesting. PayPal has launched a pay with crypto feature for US merchants, allowing payments with over 100 different cryptocurrencies. This includes very popular coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and it does include XRP among the supported options via connected third-party wallets or exchanges. Users can pay merchants in XRP by linking wallets that support XRP, such as MetaMask, Coinbase, and other types of wallets. PayPal itself does not natively support buying or holding XRP directly on the PayPal platform app. The cryptocurrencies officially supported for holding the direct transactions within PayPal's own app are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and PayPal USD stablecoin as its primary digital asset. XRP adoption happens through third-party support. People can use PayPal as a funding method on some crypto exchanges to buy XRP and put it and get it. But this is not direct support for PayPal or the XRP ledger network itself. There is no partnership between PayPal, Ripple, and XRP for the direct use of XRP in PayPal's payment backend infrastructure. So I just wanted to clarify that. We're all looking for, I guess, clicks out here. There is the context and the information that you need to sum that up. All right. One theory I've had, so this is Digital Asset Investor. When I was coming up in the crypto space, I did watch Digital Asset Investor and Brad Kimes. Brad Kimes, Digital Asset Investor, and of course, Crypto Eerie were the three people that I relied on for my crypto knowledge, my XRP knowledge. And as I evolved to do my own research, I kind of moved away, but I still like to see what this person is talking about. And so Digital Asset Investor posted this. One theory I've heard is that 2017, 2018 was XRP test drive. Sure hope so. This is applying the 2017, 2018 performance to 2025. If XRP would repeat its 2017, 2018 performance, we would apply the same percentage gain of 58,000% to its current price. That is a price of a 580x at $1,821. But is this even possible? What's the actual math behind this, and how would we even get there? I explored that exact information. So let's go ahead and get into this. I applied the same information from this post into Perplexity here. We slapped it in, and here is the context. Here's a detailed breakdown on critical context regarding the scenario described in the image, which projects XRP reaching approximately $821 by 2025. Details in the image. The circulation. The projection assumes XRP's price surge by 58,000 from a base of $3.14, leading to a theoretical price of $1,821 target. Reference. This would repeat the kind of parabolic move experienced during the late 2017 crypto bull market. Is such a move even plausible? Historic context. XRP's price did surge tens of thousands of percent in 2017, rising from fractions of a cent to $3. This was driven by massive speculative mania, market-wide retail inflows, a general cryptocurrency boom, and widespread optimism about XRP being a dominant cross-border payment currency. Could this repeat? What would be needed? A price move to $1,821 per XRP is an increase of such magnitude. It would require unprecedented capital flow, far exceeding both 2017 and 2018 mania in a total value of the entire global market then and possibly now. The market capitalization at the price would likely exceed the GDP of most countries. Ultra thin exchange order books in low liquidity environments, even modest buying can cause prices to spike dramatically. However, in practice, such large moves would attract significant sell-side liquidity, prompt arbitrage and profit taking, and encourage regulatory scrutiny. extraordinary FOMO and market sentiment, only a massive resurgence of speculative mania with limited selling and constant new buyers could result in such prices. Most analysts view this as virtually impossible without hyperinflation elsewhere or some collapse of a fiat currency. So, if the United States does, because this is talking about this year, right? So it's hard to imagine that the US, like the dollar would hyperinflate where it's worth, 50, 90, even less than that, right? It would have to be some kind of crazy number to bring the price per XRP to dollars up such a high. I just don't see that happening, of course, but let's just take a look at this additional context. Are thin order books to blame? Thin order books mean that large orders can slip the price dramatically because there aren't enough buy and sell orders for each price level. This can temporarily spike prices in illiquid assets, but a move on this scale in XRP would require all exchanges to have little to no liquidity and huge, constant, unidirectional buying, an extremely rare and unsustainable scenario. What actually drives parabolic crypto moves? Price squeezes from years-long consolidation, like XRP's triangle patterns, can trigger sharp moves when broken. Volatility compression followed by sudden demand can create outsized moves, but are usually short-lived and quickly corrected by profit taking and increasing liquidity. Institutional flow, new financial products like ETFs, regulatory wins, and broader market booms could drive strong rallies. Realistic price targets for XRP, ladies and gentlemen, right now, mainstream analyst projections for XRP in 2025 range from $4 to $50, and extremely bullish cases, maybe even $100. Now, I know that there are people like Jay Claver who has made a bet with somebody in his stream, in his community, that XRP could reach, $750 by the end of the year. So there are people out there that believe this is possible. Jake took that bet saying, that he believes that this is going to happen. And if he's wrong, he'll lose a few thousand XRP, which, could be worth a lot of money here over the next, few months. So it's really interesting to see what these people are going to do, what they're going to say. Realistically, I think these price targets are just, you're talking about an insane market cap, $107 trillion market cap for XRP. Do you think this is possible over the next 5 months? It's hard for me to imagine this. Now, do I think XRP can reach a high price? Absolutely. Do I think it's going to happen in the next 5 months? It's hard for me to see that, right? You are still trying to get regulation passed here in the United States. Yes, that's going to play a vital role. We did get stablecoin legislation, but it does take some time to go into effect and for these banks to kind of get on board with it. And then you need crypto regulation so people can invest their 401ks and IRAs into different crypto assets or ETFs. Like, that's all incredible. And I think that is going to help get to some of these levels, but this is in my personal opinion, this is going to take years. I would love to be wrong here. I would love to come back on here and make a video and say, hey guys, we're all rich, but realistically, I'm looking at the data that I have in front of me every single day, and nothing that I'm seeing is saying that we're going into the multiple hundreds over the next 5 months. I would love for these people to be right? I would, put a sock in my mouth, right? I would love to be wrong about it. But my job here is to give you information and not get your hopes up about short-term price volatility. All right. Remember, always talk with a financial advisor, guys. If you're trying to get into crypto, I had a really cool conversation. I went to this barbecue and there was about 13 people there. And we were all different age ranges and they were so interested in crypto. And I think people are underestimating how interested people are getting, right? And just to see the excitement of somebody new getting into the space, doing their own research and getting involved, it brings such joy to my heart. And, if there's people in your life that you think could start going down this road of starting to understand the crypto market, please bring them in, man. Give them some information, start talking with them. You would be surprised who's interested, Anyway, all right. Why market cap could seem impossible, right? This market cap of, $107 trillion. Market cap equals last trade price x circulating supply, times circulating supply. This formula does not require every market participant to buy and sell as the projected price. It extrapolates the last trade prices across all tokens in circulation, even those not for sale. Thus, the market cap can be heavily distorted by a single high trade in a liquid environment. So if we woke up tomorrow and institutions are looking to buy billions of dollars worth of XRP, that could trigger a huge price move. I think that's what it's referring to here. Thin order books and liquidity In illiquid conditions, a thin order book means that the relatively small buy orders can push the price sharply upward. This does not mean that $107 trillion has flowed into the XRP ledger. Rather, it means a few trades at higher prices could temporarily set a much higher target price. So the price could spike up to this level and come down really quickly. I think we've all seen examples of that in the crypto space. And of course, there's market cap multipliers. I think a lot of people assume that $107 trillion market cap means $107 trillion went into this asset. That's not accurate. Right? And I've shown you a ton of examples on this channel of the market cap multiplier for XRP is anywhere from 100 to 600x, which means for every $1 that goes into XRP, it could change the market cap 100 to 500 or $600. Now, you still see a market cap multiplier with Bitcoin currently at around 70x. So at a $2.5 trillion market cap, you're still seeing a 70x. So this could play a vital role in this price appreciation. And we'll see, how all of this stuff unfolds, guys. All right. Mikkel does have a good clip here. XRP market is shifting. Let's play it.
Guys, we are watching a fundamental shift in this market where we're getting larger and larger players who are going to be eating up larger amounts of XRP in a way we've never really seen in the market prior to this. Now, if we take a look at the XRP price chart right now, we can see that the XRP price chart is actually breaking up, closing down this sell-off we had earlier this week. I talked about earlier in the week, I made a video. I said, look, you really can't be getting washed out by stuff like this. This is an obvious shakeout. And it looks like XRP right now is reclosing this gap, moving back upwards. It looks like a large institution took some profits, shook some people out, and we're back on our way. Guys, we are watching a fundamental shift in this market where we're getting larger and larger players who are going to be eating up larger amounts of XRP in a way we've never really seen in the market prior to this. This is going to cause a level of inflows we've never seen before. Are we going to have hiccups along the way, sell-offs, small crashes? Yes. But I think we're in a brand new paradigm when it comes to the long-term build out of this market.
Man, a lot of stuff is happening for the XRP ledger right now, right? You have ETF approvals. You have twice as much interest in XRP than any other crypto asset right now for ETF approvals for institutions. Once you start getting those institutions onboarded and the bigger institutions, as they start to come in, as their customers get interested in these products, that could be insane. There's $150 billion that was put into the spot or the Bitcoin ETFs, 150 billion. Even if we could get 25 billion, right? That would be a dramatic push up. Imagine getting 25 billion with a 100x multiplier. That's $2.5 trillion market cap. At a 500x multiplier, I mean, things start to get pretty crazy, right? 10 trillion, 12 trillion, just like that. So I think people are underestimating how the impact of this is going to be. And Mikkel tells it really, really well. Somebody posted this information about Santander and Ripple. Confirmed global banking giant Santander is running a live, fully functional payment system powered by Ripple's blockchain technology. I don't believe this is new information, but hey, I wanted to take a look and see if there was anything new about this. Scan the document, tell me if everything's legitimate. The information in the image and the tweet is legitimate and accurate. Santander, Banco Santander Group did in fact implement a fully functioning payment system called OnePayFX, which leverages Ripple's blockchain technology. OnePayFX launched back in 2018. OnePayFX is a cross-border payments app that utilizes Ripple's enterprise blockchain technology, specifically RippleNet X Current. And I think they've updated the names here on some of this. Not reliant on XRP for faster and more transparent payments. The service initially launched in Spain, in the UK, Brazil, and Poland, later expanding to additional corridors. Why Ripple Santander's choice was driven by a need to improve transparency, reduce costs, and speed up international transfers for its customers. By incorporating Ripple's technology, customers can see exactly how much money will arrive at the destination, know when it will arrive, often the same day or within the same minute, benefit from lower transactions costs. It does talk about some operational details, but nothing really new, so we don't want to get into that too much. There is some, new funders coming out of the woodworks, right? Where were these people in the last few years? Oh, okay. Now you're here. You're a little worried about XRP starting to, shine onto Bitcoin's parade. So here is what is being said. Listen up.
What I don't like about Ripple and XRP is basically that they created this money out of thin air and allocated it all to themselves and then drip it out. With Bitcoin, the issuance of new Bitcoin being added to the ledger has always been permissionless, that anybody can participate in the mining process. And by virtue of that, it's very competitive so that there's no monopoly profits from the issuance of the currency. They created XRP out of thin air. They won't let anyone else create XRP. They gave themselves it all. They have paid for marketing to manipulate people into thinking that Ripple has these special relationships with institutions that is going to lead to XRP being the future world reserve currency.
Break down for me what institutions that Bitcoin is partnering with. El Salvador. Cool. I just wanted to clear that up, right? Listen, there's always going to be people that are going to say anything to get people to move off XRP and go into something else, right? If you have sat here for the last few years or last few months or last few weeks doing your own research and you've come to your own conclusions, don't let anybody, especially somebody that has a clear motive, to try to get you to move away from XRP and go into Bitcoin. Remember, the Bitcoin maximalists have pinned themselves down to Bitcoin now being a tokenized store of value, digital gold. That is Bitcoin's use case nowadays, right? Bitcoin was the technology of the futures. Banks are going to use this for everything, right? Now it's a store of value. Oh, interesting. So institutions won't use Bitcoin to move money around the planet? Oh, Bitcoin really isn't ISO compliant. You can't really attach it to these messages and send it around the planet. Oh, shoot. Man, can I make stable coins on Bitcoin? I think you can actually do that. I don't know how good it is, but listen, everybody has their own agenda. Believe in yourself, believe in your research. And, if you want to look into these claims this guy's saying, please do. I did want to look at some information. Obviously no more coins can be created with Bitcoin. When I did the research on Chris Larson's sales, 800 million in sales over the last, decade, I did look at Ethereum. I looked at Solana. I looked at BNB. All of those gave tremendous amount of tokens to their founders and their angel investors, right? That is what the crypto space is. You build this blockchain and then you need to get the tokens out. Ripple has been doing an incredible job as the steward of the XRP ledger for so long, right? And I think people either are uneducated about it or they just have their own agenda, right? And don't let someone else's agenda get in your way. Listen, Bitcoin is as good as it can be. Now, if there is a company or a country that decides to control over 51% of the mining power, they could in fact control the Bitcoin network. They could stop transactions. They could pretty much do whatever they wanted. It's called a 51% attack. This is with a level of this control, attackers can reverse recent transactions that are made, enabling double spending, temporarily prevent new transactions from being confirmed, block other miners from finding blocks, thus temporarily monopolizing block rewards. However, they cannot change the supply rules and create more than 21 million Bitcoin, steal coins directly from individuals' wallets, or change historical transactions. So that's good to know, right? Some pluses and some benefits. Listen, the crypto space is not perfect. Institutions are coming in at a level that we've never seen before. Regulations are here globally, especially in the United States, are coming soon. All of this stuff, I think, is going to do well. There is room for success for all of these different communities and armies and people. And, I want Bitcoin to do well, because if Bitcoin does well, Ethereum will do well, XRP will do well, and the rest of the market will do well, right? I want XRP to do well because maybe other ISO tokens will do well, like XLM and XCC and all of these other things, right? I am bullish on all of this stuff, and I hope you are too. All right, I'll see you next time. Thanks for being here. Bye. Nothing in this video should be taken as financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. Please seek financial advice if you need it. Let's get back to the video.